button. I've pressed the button. We're live.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right?
What?
Yeah. Zap is 2 hours south of Amy. So hello. Let's just Simon, Talis, Amy. Hello, Amy. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well.
Fancy meeting you here.
Oh, you too.
Yeah. Lola, Zap, the Mashumans. I think that's everyone. Oh, and Marion, Nitronomicon. Are we all?
All right, so I've got the YouTube up and muted so I don't hear you echoey.
So you can see chat. Good. It's always good when the guest can see chat as well. Otherwise, I have to read everything out, and it's. Hello, Alan, Ryan. Welcome aboard. This is your first time here. Don't worry, it's chaos. It'll all resolve itself. Just remember to type cock emojis at the right moment. It'll be fine. Sorry, rooster
He's not
emojis.
kidding.
Yeah. What I'll do is I will get things underway by singing a song, and then we'll talk to Amy, and then Amy will sing a song or play a tune, and then we'll talk a bit, and then I'll sing a song. I certainly won't play a tune. And so it will go. Two Mashumans and a cat. Hi, Thomas. Welcome aboard. Come one and all, let us be jolly, drive away all melancholy, for to grieve it is a folly. Oh, when we're met together, let union be in all our hearts. Let all our hearts be joined as one, we'll end the day as we begun, we'll end it all in pleasure. Rack, falla, rolla, roll to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido. When we're met together, King Solomon in all his glory gave each wife a different story. In our cups we'll still think that's pretty despicable behaviour. Oh, when we're met together, let union be in all our hearts. Let all our hearts joined as one, we'll end the day as we begun, we'll end it all in pleasure. Rack, falla, rolla, roll to relido, rack, falla, rolla, roll to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido. Oh, when we're met together, eating and drinking, they're so charming, piping and smoking, there's no harming. All these things we'll take delight in. Oh, when we're met together, let union be in all our hearts. Let all our hearts be joined as one, we'll end the day as we begun, we'll end it all in pleasure. Rack, falla, rolla, roll to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido. Oh, when we're met together, cease your quarrelling and fighting, evil speaking and backbiting, all these things take no delight in. Oh, when we're met together, let union be in all our hearts. Let all our hearts be joined as one, we'll end the day as we begun, we'll end it all in pleasure. Rack, falla, rolla, roll to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido. Oh, when we're met together, grab the bottle as it passes, do not fail to fill your glasses. Water drinkers are universally excellent people, and I won't hear a word said against them. Oh, when we're met together, let union be in all our hearts. Let all our hearts be joined as one, we'll end the day as we begun, we'll end it all in pleasure. Rack, falla, rolla, roll to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido. Oh, when we're met together, let union be in all our hearts. Let all our hearts be joined as one, we'll end the day as we begun, we'll end it all in pleasure. Rack, falla, rolla, roll to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido, rack, falla, rolla, rolla to relido. When we're met together, let union be in all our hearts.
Ooh, I love that one.
It's grand, isn't it? Marion's water is hot, caffeinated and adulterated, I say.
Excellent.
Hot, caffeinated, and adulterated. That sounds like a goal.
That's right. That's right. Oh.
Now, this is very slack of me. I can't remember what we talked about last time you were here. I can vaguely remember.
You know, I had to ask Zap, and she said she didn't remember, but this was a new program, and we didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, fine. So, I do remember that I probably asked you about your first encounter with Martin Carthy, so this time we have to come up with the fallback question. Filk, how did it happen?
Oh, wow. Now, I'd been going to a local sci-fi con called Marcon in Ohio for a couple of years when I was younger, and I never really looked at the program guide. I just wandered around and looked at the exhibit hall and all the Klingons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like the second or third or fourth year, whenever it was that I went there, I looked at the program guide and I was like, what's filk? I can tell from context clues that it's music of some sort.
Yeah.
Well, what if I just show up with my fiddle? And it turned out there were folks there who knew like Irish session tunes. Maybe not a lot of them, but a couple. Yeah. And I remember the first song that I recognized in a filk circle was Steve McDonald singing "City of New Orleans." And I was like,
surprise.
I know that. So I played along with that. And then, after my first circle, I remember, some really awesome folks were there. And we were talking in the hallway and somebody said, have you ever heard of OVFF? I said, no, what's that? And
it's an entire weekend of this.
Yeah.
And it's next week. Maybe not next week, but... and you never look back?
Not really. Not really. You find a community that it turns out you have a spot in, and it's so nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to make that spot, but...
Absolutely. I kind of have come to accept the fact that I'm clearly a filker, but it's not my primary thing. I'm a folk singer who fell among filkers. I kind of came a bit late for the hotbed of the UK filk scene, really. And I've not really been to many American cons, not been to many cons. But I, pretty much similar to you, I went to the Glasgow World Con 20 years ago, was it? Oh, my God. Some years ago, 10 years ago, at least. And it was slightly bewildered by what the hell is a science fiction convention, and also slightly bewildered by how much it revolved around getting pissed, and that's not really me. And so I'd heard of filk because I was a denizen of Alt. Callahan's in Usenet back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And so I toddled along I saw the filk on the programme, so I toddled along to that and sang Tam Lin. And then Bill Sutton sang the talking blues version of whatever the hell it was. And sort of didn't really look back. And they all said, you've got to come to Deja Nova Con or whatever. No, the 1812 Con, I think it was, next year. And then I sort of did. And before I knew it, I'm like, oh, this is quite fun.
Yeah, I think I met you at Deja Nova. Or whenever Lady Monogreen was guesting.
Yes, that was Deja Nova Con. I think that was the following year. Second year I went. That Gwen and Joe rang. That was a lovely con.
I had an amazing time.
Yeah.
And part of that was you.
Well, thank you very much. You said things. Also, that stairwell singing was just...
There's a lot to be said for stairwells with good acoustics, isn't there?
Yeah. Hell, there's a lot to be said for stairwells with bad acoustics, but with good acoustics, it's magic. The stairwell at FKO that was solid concrete and no thing. I came over to FKO, ended up on the last day, stood in the bottom of that stairwell belting out Amazing Grace and stuff like that with Cat Faber and a couple of others, and that was just hugely fun. Just amazing sustain.
Nothing like it.
No,
Nothing like it. There's an old church that I sometimes get to play in at the Wisconsin Historical Village called Old World, Wisconsin, and I will sometimes play there for Christmas things.
Yeah.
And the acoustics are so beautiful that even though I play all day, between shows, I still sometimes just, go up in the high registers just to hear it shimmer.
Yeah, I remember seeing Nancy Kerr and Liza Carthy in a church just outside the Barbican Centre, and the problem with that one, it had just too much sustain. So the fiddles were just turning into this wash. It was a beautiful sounding wash.
Sure.
But
kind of a watercolor mess up there sometimes.
They're playing this lovely agile fiddle work and interleaving harmony lines and all that kind of stuff that they did. And it was magic and magnificent. And the reverb in the church just turned it into this lovely acoustic wash.
It do be like that sometimes.
Yeah. Is your sort of musical identity, are you primarily a filker these days, or Irish folk fiddle, or?
I mean, there isn't a lot of filk community where I live. Mm-hmm. So if I want to do filk stuff, I generally have to travel. Mm-hmm. So I don't think of it as my bread and butter. Mm-hmm. But it's still at the heart of me,
Yeah. If it's filk, it doesn't pay, does it?
Not really, no. But I will say the filk community values physical artifacts in a way that I don't think the ordinary live music going community does in in current Middle America, Wisconsin. So if I want to print a CD or a shirt or something, I can talk to the filk community and they'll be like, we would like an artifact, yes. And sometimes those artifacts, those albums, those shirts, those stickers, anything, you wind up, printing are the things that make you realize you've done something.
Yes. Yeah. Especially the ones that are sat holding your bed up because you got optimistic when you decided how many to have pressed.
That's right. And the price break was at 1,000 at the time, so I printed 1,000.
I have a friend of mine. It's been, I think, 10 years and he's sold out of his first CD.
I just don't know what to do with the rest of them, to be honest. But I'm working on a second. I've got all the recording and stuff done. I just have to do all the paperwork, which I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And then I'll have another one.
Yeah. I've got an album recorded, and ADHD object permanence means I've not finished it, and it's from 2020. I need to finish it and send physical things that people have paid for. Oh God, ADHD is all about the shame. Sing us a song, for God's sake.
All right.
Or play us a tune, whatever choice.
I'm gonna play one I wrote that's been kicking around my head lately. I wrote it for Mary Burtkey, who is an Ohio songstress and banjo player and braider and all-around awesome person. But she put me up when my flight got canceled. And so this is called Safety. I figure if I start sweet, then all the hell raising I do later will be forgiven, surely.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Sorry, just doing
How was
three
the
things
levels
at
on
once.
that? Should I turn down a little? Did it top out anywhere?
That was sounding great to me.
Awesome. Okay.
You've got a compressor on the feed that's going out to YouTube, and annoyingly, I can't easily monitor that. So YouTube have to tell me it sounded fantastic. Apparently, so
Thank you,
that's
Mr.
all right.
Masherman. Thank you, Thomas. Thanks, y'all.
Oh, for God's sake. Always with the annoyance. Thank you. Yes, it's me. I'm logging in. These things happen.
Ah, good. Zap and Alan also say it sounds good. Thanks, y'all.
Excellent. It sounded pretty fab at this end, I have to say. At some point. Anyway, So what have you been up to of late?
Oh, is it okay if I talk about something heavy?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get into tough stuff, folks. In my family, a number of us have what seems to be a bit of a gene for suicidal ideation.
Yikes.
My mother's father shot himself when she was in college. My mother's uncle shot himself, and if family legend is anything to go by, it didn't take. And 10 years later, he finished the job. My mother killed herself, and my sister attempted. I have had my first suicidal ideation since puberty. And in my first year of college was when it was really bad for the first time. I was away from home. I didn't have as much of a support network. I was trying a brand new thing. It wore on me pretty hard. And I wanted to jump off the roof of my dorm. And I went to the student counseling. I got help. I got medication, but it never took it away.
No.
Completely. And I had about 20 years of suicidal ideation on and off. There was a med I took that helped a lot. It was called Abilify or aripiprazole, and it took away some of the intrusive visualizations that I had. And I'm saying this out loud because there might be some folks in your life, or you might even struggle with this. When I looked at knives or bottles of pills, or when I drove over a bridge, I would get a sudden intrusive visualization of what it would look like and what it would be like if I ended my life that way. It felt very compelling to me at the time, and I was really happy when I was able to go on that med, and it took those away. It was only because I had a long appointment with my psychiatrist who said, "Look, this is the last appointment. We've got all the time you need to talk. So when you say you're having a low period, I'd like you to tell me exactly what that is."
Yeah.
So advice number one, be honest with your mental health professionals if you can at all, instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm kind of having a hard time."
Yeah, because a low period is different for everyone, isn't it?
It is. It is. And after she heard me talk, she just stopped for a moment and she said, "You never know what normal is for people. You just never can know unless you're that person. Thank you for telling me. I honestly think your life could be a little bit better if you tried something."
Yeah.
In thanks, Talis. In April of 2022, I actually went to go visit Talis, and I'd been thinking about trying a series of procedures called transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they put this big, scary helmet on you, and it sends magnetic pulses to the parts of your brain that have to do with depression and anxiety, depending on what kind of helmet you use and stuff like that. And I'd been thinking about it. I'd been thinking about going on some of the sort of kind of tougher brain drugs, things that have a lot of medication interactions. I'd been looking up electroconvulsive therapy. And transcranial magnetic stimulation came up again and again. And when I was visiting Talis, I spoke with her and some other very kind folks, and decided to try to pursue it. In fall of 2022, I took 3 months off from just about everything.
Yeah.
I endured 36 appointments of having that magnetic jackhammer helmet on. The first appointment was really tough.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie, it was hard. I cried. I didn't want to go back, but I did.
Mm-hmm.
And the second appointment was so much easier. And I had friends who helped me through it. And I was COVID sleepy. I was so tired for 3 months. And a lot of last year was kind of getting used to the world without suicidal ideation.
Wow.
And it was something. It was really something, because when you wake up from wanting to die all the time, you have a lot to process.
Yeah.
Like what you just put your friends through.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough. And it was also how I navigated the world. How much do I want to die today was how I gauged my mood. I had a rubric, like a mental health pain scale, of how bad days were, and I could tell, how difficult the day was going to be to cope with, sometimes through little clues that I'd given myself, like if I start snoozing my alarms, I'm probably at a 6 or a 7. Yeah. If I find it difficult to take my meds, I'm probably here. And it was how I viewed the world and how I calibrated my mood.
Yeah.
And this year, 2024, has been a little bit more about living.
Yeah.
Not just processing what it's like when it's different, but what's it like to live?
I'm guessing it took quite a long time to go from just your mental map being, I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
There was a constant
to being
constant scream.
To being actually, well, today I'd quite like to go and do this. Wow.
It was like this scream that just never ended, and when it does end, you still got the ringing in your ears.
Yeah.
And all the other sounds are sometimes so quiet and sometimes so loud.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to figure out, well, what are emotions beyond this one really loud, really difficult thing? And so
I'm guessing there's a certain amount of shit. Who the fuck am I now?
You're not kidding. You're not kidding, because you build your whole life around trying not to die.
Yeah, I mean, I'm self-diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm seeking diagnosis from the NHS, and just recognizing, because I've been out of step all my life. It's just really apparent, and just reading that thing on the internet that went bosh 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 bosh, and it's like yes, oh fucking hell, this is actually me. Because usually when you look at those things about what it's like to be an adult with autism or whatever it may be, and just I'm reading that thinking, well, yeah, but no, good God, no. I know I'm sounding judgmental, but that's not what I mean.
No.
It's just like, it's not me at all. And the primary reason I'm seeking diagnosis is because people who are on the drugs and for whom the drugs work, they're magical. And I am these days my wife's full-time carer, and my ADHD means that I am shit at it. There is a pile of dishes in our kitchen that is not a single pile. I have not got any work surface left or space in the sink in which to do the washing up. And it's been like that for weeks. And I try and it doesn't happen. And trying to explain why it doesn't happen, I don't fucking know. I just can't do it. And part of me is kind of like, if the drugs work, I'm kind of that thing. But I think I'd quite like to find out who that person is.
Yeah.
I would, That would be good.
Getting to meet yourself the way other
Yeah,
folks talk about.
yeah. But
It's just...
God, intrusive thought. I don't do. I'm aphantasic, so the whole intrusive visualizations is not a thing that's ever going to happen to me. I just don't see pictures. Don't see pictures in my head.
Oh.
Don't hear
reading
sounds
books
either.
must be very different for you.
Yeah, it's weird. It's odd. I don't understand how people cope with seeing pictures in their head, but
That's so cool.
yeah,
But yeah, different.
We're all different. My theory is that neurotypical is in fact a tool of patriarchal control. We're none of us typical. We're all of us weird in different ways.
Right.
Some
When
of
they
us
say
are
it's
weird
just
in
a
ways
setting
that
on the
are
washing machine.
actively harmful to us. And thank God TMS worked. I didn't even know that. I knew about TMS as a theory. I didn't realise it was available therapeutically yet. So I'm delighted to hear it worked for you.
It is. There's a center in Madison, Wisconsin where they have it, and I just kind of lucked into finding a center, and the folks that staffed it were really committed to getting me care and getting my insurance to cover it.
Because it is proper weird, isn't it?
It's so weird. It's so weird, and you know, for some folks, it stops working, and they get it again, and
Yikes.
so there's some days where I'm like, well, what if this is the last day it works?
Hey, I've had 2 years.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Wouldn't trade them.
You know, I guess, you know, at least you'll have the memory of, well, then again, that'd probably make it worse, wouldn't it? Let's just hope it doesn't come back.
That's what I'm hoping, but also, you know what? I kind of draw to myself. I got through it before,
Yeah.
and if I have to put that helmet on again, I will absolutely do it.
Yeah.
If I have to try something else, I'll do that too.
I mean, that line of Terry Pratchett's about if they've got a drug, you know, he would gnaw the arse out of a dead badger if there was even a remote chance that it would have put a halt to his Alzheimer's. Sadly, gnawing the arse out of dead badgers didn't work. But yeah, when you're at that sort of level, it's just.
Life can be really hard, and our brains can make it even harder, especially in comparison to what we see, you know, in the media as a functioning life.
And that's a presentation.
It's a presentation. It's something somebody made up.
Yeah. I mean, you read my Mastodon feed and it probably doesn't come across. It's not what I'm like inside. It's how I present myself. It's like everyone does it.
Yes,
You know,
we all have
because-
our, you know, interacting with other people hats, and also we have, you know, we have what people tell us is like, okay, well, most people do like a some sort of 9-to-5 job, and they're able to take care of other folks somehow, and they're able to get 8 hours of sleep and eat healthy meals, and you know what? That's an awful lot just to begin with.
And also, living with chronic pain or chronic suicidal ideation or whatever it is enough fucking work without having to talk about it.
So I just want to say to anyone who's listening, if there's something that might help you,
Yeah.
and you're willing to give it a go, please try.
Oh, yeah.
It might not
Absolutely.
work, but sometimes life can be so much easier than you think it is.
Yeah. And even if it turns out it's not for you, the experience of trying it means that when you say, no, that's not for me, you've made a definite choice.
Yeah, you've got data
And
points.
thus, in some sense, have some control. I suffer with diabetic neuropathy in my feet.
Same.
And it's nerve pain. It's strong pins and needles. In theory, it's numb, but my brain reads that as pins and needles. And I ended up on pregabalin, I think, quite a large dose of this drug, which initially was a antidepressant.
Oh, is that gabapentin?
Yeah, and pregabalin
That might be what they call it over here.
is the kind of like, it's sort of, because only one, I can't remember if it's the cis or trans version of the molecule, only one of them works. And pregabalin is where they've taken out the other one.
Got it.
And by the time I was on a sufficient dose that my feet didn't hurt, I was mentally weirdly unable to connect with music. I could sing, I could still harmonise, I could do all that stuff. But the joy and the connection and the camaraderie that comes with that wasn't there.
Oh, no.
So I live with chronic pain, and it's a definite choice, because fuck it, I would rather be able to have music. And it's not, oh no, it's a conscious and deliberate choice. I know there was a thing that would take that away. And now I know that music is worth more than that pain is costing me.
No, just, know that you would have to experience that separation.
Yeah, it's the weirdest,
that had to be
most
strange
unpleasant
as
thing.
heck.
It was really strange. I was at a Sacred Harp convention, and I love Sacred Harp. I love the process of Mary Burtkey is just asking what the URL of... If anyone's got Mary Burtkey in Discord, could you drop the YouTube URL to her, please? Because I'm in mid-flow and...
No, you keep going. I think I got it.
Yeah, and just being able to make that conscious choice about my treatment has meant that I understand and I don't care. It's not got any worse. So it's shit. I don't like it. It wakes me up sometimes. But I'd rather be going to Sacred Harp and enjoying what I'm singing. Hopefully someone has let Mary know. And
I did.
Hurrah! That's good. I think I'd better sing something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not trying to get away from talking about heavy stuff. I just think I ought to sing something.
But that's what's been going on. It's a long story. It's a deep story, but...
Mary has made it.
Yay.
Right, I'm going to sing this, which is what I normally finish with, but before we started chat, Amy was suggesting that she was going to be freewheeling and wasn't going to have a set list. And I said, when you're doing conversation, it's best not to have a set list. Just have your repertoire list open in front of you, and then see what gets sparked by the conversation. And this is one of those ones that got sparked by that conversation. This is The Blackbird by Dave Webber. I just realised my delay was being on all through the conversation, so I've been there with a little bit of echo. As I rose up at break of day, all from beside my true love, I heard a blackbird sing his song, as beautiful as new love. There's not a court in all the world has heard a sound so rich, and ne'er a song has e'er been sung that has such perfect pitch. As I walked out this autumn morn, just as the sun was rising, and all the world with dew was hung, and the trees like silver shining, there's not a court in all the world has treasures fair as these, and ne'er a diamond shone so bright as sunlight through the trees. And later on this autumn morn, I saw a tree fire burning, the leaves like flames of red and gold. They set my heart a-yearning. And then I heard another song from deep within my heart, awaiting just one of love before it made a start. After love I ask of life, just one sing, sing. Pray never let me see the day that will not let me sing.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. All right.
Thank you. He writes gorgeous songs.
That's beautiful. I'm gonna play my favorite hymn.
Cool.
It's it's got two sets of lyrics, neither of which I'm gonna sing. One has more Jesus in it, and one has less Jesus in it. But the hymn is called "How Can I Keep from Singing?"
Oh, it's glorious.
Always loved that one.
Next time we're in the same place.
What do you say?
Next time we're in the same place, you play that in my key.
Oh, I will. Oh, that'd be lovely.
I feel I should point out, sadly, that there is no little plib down here pointing out that the link to the Ko-fi thing. But there is a...
the Nightbot went up and said something.
Nightbot is reminding people of the Ko-fi link. And if you are enjoying what we're doing and feel that, if you were walking past us, busking in the streets, you would like to chuck some money in the hat, that link is the place to go and chuck some money in the hat. And at the end of the night, or at the end of the weekend, because people do watch on catch-up, I divvy up the money and share it with my guests. So if you're enjoying what we're doing...
money in the hat, y'all.
Money in the hat. Do not feel in any way obliged. It's not obligatory. You can enjoy this, and we are just enjoying our chat. But it's very nice when people give us money. It just is.
Puts food on the table.
Absolutely. Or pizza in the delivery slot, anyway.
Yeah.
So now you're hopefully long-term free of the suicidal ideation. Has it changed with yourself? Are you doing
Has it changed
more
what?
things? Has it changed what you're doing with yourself? Are you being able to, if nothing else, you're able to drive those routes with the high bridges now, aren't you? And
I am. I'm able to drive, and I'm able to chop vegetables, and oh, I'm going to go back to the hard stuff. I'm sorry.
no, don't worry.
There's a back when it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Back when it was tough, I'm just going to go out and say it in public. It gave me comfort to store up pills that might help me along my way when I wanted the time to come.
Yeah.
I threw them out.
Yay!
I was able to throw them out. It wasn't even hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'd been sitting on that shelf, probably not even good anymore. But I was able to throw them out, and it wasn't even hard. And it changes the way I look at myself, partly because now that I don't have that kind of kicking around in my brain, I feel like I should be able to do more stuff.
Now you're finding out about the other brain weasels, aren't you?
And I'm finding out all about my other brain weasels, and people just aren't really optimized like that. You don't get to free up space and then suddenly, oh well, I've got the mental fortitude to conquer the world. I don't.
No.
So that's, it's a bit sad, but it's also just so nice to take a little bit of the pressure off of myself and exist.
Just not having that noise must be just so freeing.
If you think of everything as having an end, that puts everything on a timeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what Zap said, find a bit of ease in breathing.
Yeah.
There's still part of me that's like, okay, we should buckle down and try and have a real life now, but I'm mostly getting that part to be quiet and enjoy it a little bit.
Cool. You said you've been off at the Library of Congress doing cool stuff.
Yes. Okay, so I was going to visit my friend in Silver Spring. He plays the fiddle. He's great. And my husband Bennett was going to go and see some of the museums. And I hadn't really thought about what I'd like to do until I filled out a form to get my Library of Congress reading card. It's a cool library card to have. It's got a seal and everything.
There's no such thing as an uncool. Let's be honest here. Anyway.
Every library card is cool. But I admit they handed me the card, and I walked into the main reading room, and I just cried. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. I was in a palace of books.
Yes.
That's like my whole country cares about.
Yeah.
What? And it turns out you don't necessarily have to have special qualifications to make a research request. You can do it on their website. You can choose a little slot, and they'll let you know if your research request is approved. The librarians in the Performing Arts Reading Room are awesome. Shout out to Paul. And they have beautiful, really good scanners. And they let me take documents from the 1700s, printed out in Scotland. And, oh my gosh, I got to touch them. I got to scan them in.
Yeah.
I scanned probably about 100 documents an hour. I made 892 images on that thumb drive. Because the scanner would split them into pages for me, which was really nice. That's a cool button to be able to press.
That's cool, yeah.
And I got to scan in a straspe written by a lady amateur. You don't see a lot of those written down in 1700s.
Lady amateur.
A lady amateur. And I handled them with such reverence that the librarians were like, "Oh wow, thanks for being careful with our materials." And these are songs I've been playing as far back as I can remember in some cases. And, you know, it's probably the closest thing I have to a sacred text.
The first publication of this tune.
Right, and I got to see it.
Yeah.
So it meant the world to me, and it was so cool. I'm gonna put some of the scans up on the internet, particularly the ones that hold no copyright anymore, which is most of them, and some on my Patreon. So brief shill for my Patreon at patreon.com/infamousfiddler. You will find some stuff there.
I'm just looking through the spread you sent me of toasts, and I think I've found the best one.
Oh, tell it to me.
Liberty of the press and a favourite volume in sheets.
Oh, yeah.
May all
thanks for
true
donations,
hearts
y'all.
never want a shilling and a good bedfellow.
Ooh. Oh, there's such good toasts in that book. It's called the Scots Nightingale.
Yeah. That's
The
glorious.
Scots Nightingale.
Well, we know what I've got to sing now, don't we?
Oh, yay.
Kind of, yeah. No getting away from this one. Press a button. And get ready to press more buttons. Let me just press some other buttons to get myself into... Hold on. It's cold, it's still bloody hanging on. Anyway. I'm a child of the library, it made me who I am. It taught me about freedom and the fellowship of man. A sea of story waits for you behind the library door. Don't say we can't afford it anymore. The library's where I've made some friends I've known my whole life through. The Walkers and the Blacketts and the Pevens is so true. Simp the canine cannonball, Galadriel the fair, the daughter of a pirate king and Paddington the bear. I'm a child of the library, it made me who I am. It taught me about freedom and the fellowship of man. A sea of story waits for you behind the library door. Don't say we can't afford it anymore. I've travelled south with Shackleton and all his gallant crew, and through the African interior that Mary Kingsley knew. I rode the trackless prairie where bison used to roam. I've flown around the universe, not half an hour from home. I'm a child of the library, it made me who I am. It taught me about freedom and the fellowship of man. A sea of story waits for you behind the library door. Don't say we can't afford it anymore. And as I grew, the library fed my curiosity. All there for the asking and all of it for free. It's there I found stories I couldn't find at home. It's there I learned the magic of the interlibrary loan. I'm a child of the library, it made me who I am. It taught about freedom and the fellowship of man. A sea of story waits for you behind the library door. Don't say we can't afford it anymore. So make friends with your library, don't let it fade away. Teach the kids the libraries where they go on Saturdays. Don't let the bastards tell you they will cost too much to save while they're shoveling your taxes down the hole the Tories made. I'm a child of the library, it made me who I am. It taught me about freedom and the fellowship of man. A sea of story you behind the library door. Don't say we can't afford it anymore. So make a stand for the library. Stand up while you can. Stand up for your freedom. Stand with your fellow man. Ignorance is never bliss. Don't close the library, for the library lost is lost forevermore. I'm a child of the library, it made me who I am. It taught me about freedom and the fellowship of man. A sea of story waits for you behind the library door. Don't say we can't afford it anymore. Yes, I'm a child of the library, it made me who I am. It taught me about freedom and the fellowship of man. A serious story waits for you behind the library door. Don't say we can't afford it anymore. For a library lost is lost forevermore. There you go, that's a medley of my hit.
Yes. I don't have a library song. I should. The Wagnalls Memorial Library in Lithopolis, Ohio is a castle of book. It's a beautiful, beautiful stone building put in place by Mabel Wagnalls of the Funkin' Wagnalls Encyclopedia fortune. And when I was growing up, it was kind of a private library, you know, but open to the town and stuff. And that's where I read so many things. I remember on one of my first visits, I was so proud to have a library card that I checked out everything I read and brought it back. But they were picture books, and I read them in 5 minutes. And my mom had to explain to me that I could just read them if I was going to read them inside the library, and the librarian wouldn't get mad at me then.
Nope.
And
there's a fantastic, I can't remember if it was a memoir or a novel by Jeanette Winterson. She talks about getting a library card because her mother massively distrusted books. And she finally got access to the library, and being from a profoundly anti-literate family, she knew that books were magic and there was pleasure in them and stuff like that, but she knew nothing. So she started at A. And as she said, thank God her surname was Austen.
Love it.
Can you imagine? Oh, Jane, not fucking hell.
We had a house fire. Our house burned when I was about 13. And the library was about a mile and a half away. But it's where I ran when they took the chainsaw out of the roof.
Wow.
It's where I was able to call my best friend from, you know.
Yeah.
It was
I mean, they're places of safety, aren't they? In so many ways.
And they would, you know, they'd talk to me. They'd talk to me like a person.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, I used to get the most dreadful bilge from my local library. Yes. I've read far more gore books than any sane person should have. Because, you know, horny teenager.
But, you know, the freedom to read that's a big thing.
And there was just no... I mean, maybe they were judgmental but then again, they weren't reading science. They weren't science fiction readers, so they probably had no idea. But they were just helpful. Just,
right.
You know, librarians doing library shit, you know, helping you access the stuff that you want. And I got the most bewildering stuff on interlibrary loans.
Yeah, I got stuff about the Battle of Hastings, and I think I read The Ethical Slut the first time through interlibrary loan. Hi, I'm polyamorous, and I think, you know, I got just weird, rare stuff that I could look up, and nothing ever but a smile. And here's what you ordered.
Absolutely, and you read that book, and there's something in the bibliography that sounds fascinating, so you go, right, love that, and as a kid, was a stamp. In apparently now you have to pay a bit of a fee, but as a kid all it cost me was a stamp. But I went in often enough, it reached the point where it didn't even cost me a stamp, because I'd just say, have any of my requests come in? And they go, yeah, there you go. And it's just the most magical thing, and it's really because once you go into one library you have entered L space. And the interlibrary loan is the particle that knits L space together. It's magic.
It's magic. Well, I don't have a library song, but I do have a favorite story song lately. We were talking about how at my first UK FilkCon, Lady Mondegreen was guest, and this is one we used to do. It's by Richard Shindell. I should bring up the lyrics so I don't embarrass myself. It's called Reunion Hill. It must have been in late September when last I climbed Reunion Hill. I fell asleep on Indian Boulder and dreamed a dream I will not tell. I walked home as the sun went down, one-eyed trained upon the ground. Even now I find their things, glasses, coins, and golden rings. 10 years now since that ragged army limped across these fields of mine. I gave them bread, I gave them brandy, but most of all, I gave them time. My well is deep, the water pure, my streams are fed by mountain lakes. I clean the brow of many a soldier, dowsing for my husband's face. I won't forget our sad farewell, or how I ran to climb that hill just to watch him walk across the valley and disappear into the trees. All alone in a sea of blue, it circles every afternoon, a single hawk in God's great sky, looking down with God's own eyes. He soars above Reunion Hill. I pray he spirals higher still, as if from such altitude he just might keep my love in view. Must have been in late September when last I climbed Reunion Hill. That's a Richard Shindell.
Wow.
I just love that one.
Yeah. Whew. What
Dowsing
song?
for my husband's face.
Pardon?
Just that line, dowsing for my husband's face.
Mm.
So descriptive.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I mean, usually the sort of traditional song about the partner missing is that kind of he's coming back with a broken token, and it's always, you know, a really disappointing resolution usually. But that just sort of unresolved and yeah, and more, feels kind of more real because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real painting, that song.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thanks y'all so much.
Absolutely. Puts me in mind of this one, which is much shorter. So I'm going to go straight into a song rather than having a chat. High upon the highland and low upon Tay, Bonnie George Campbell rode out on a day. Saddled and bridled and booted rode he. Home came his good horse, but never came he. Home came his mother with a heart full of care. Down came his good wife, a curling of her hair. The meadow lies green, and the corn is unshorn. My barns are all empty, my baby's unborn. Saddled and bridled, so gallant rode he, with a plume in his helmet and sword by his knee. Home came the saddle, so bloody to see. Home came his good horse, but never came he. Yes, the meadow lies green, and the corn is unshorn, and bonny George Campbell will never return.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh, that's... Dang. Okay. Now I want to play a fiddle tune I'm not very good at. Hang on.
Set lists, screw them. Just play what you feel.
I actually have written on my set list something a bit tough, but it's not this. Getting out the 4-string. All right. Forgive me if I do this wrong. It's an onomatopoeia song. It's Lament for the Death of King George V. And the theme is meant to be We've Lost a King. And the B part is meant to be the wailing of the young sons. And at the very end, if I do it right, and I might not, forgive me if I do, is meant to be the funeral march as played by the bagpipes. We'll see how I do. Thanks for listening, y'all.
That definitely sounded like distant pipes at the end. That was great.
Thanks. That's the tough part, you know? You either have them by that point or you don't.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, yeah. Good tunes.
My fiddling mentor, he can play that and you can swear they're walking by.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favourite groups, Spies and Bowden, they put out an album called Tunes, and it's mostly traditional tunes and a few that Squeezy wrote. He's a brilliant box player, and there are a couple of them that are Morrissey kind of suit tunes. And I swear, you listen to them and you can hear the dancers' feet. You really can. It's just, they're not there, but you can hear them. It's just
the spirit of them is there.
Yeah. There's a fantastic quote from, I think it's Scantester, who was a Old English box player who, in his later years, got booked quite a lot by the BBC to play for sort of ceilidh dancers over the air. And he said he never liked playing for the radio because he couldn't see the dancers' feet, which I thought was really... Because, of course, I mean, certainly Morris sides are following the dancers rather than the dancers following the... So if you've got someone doing a solo jig who can get a lot of air, that note where he's going up lasts a lot longer than someone who can't get as much air. It's just... Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was fantastic, Amy.
Oh, I'm so glad you liked it. I don't perform it much. You know, it's kind of a heavy tune.
Mm. Yeah. And slow airs are always... They're a test, aren't they?
Yeah.
When Jill did the folk degree at Newcastle, they used to go to sessions and very often the students would just start playing faster and faster and faster until people who weren't on the course couldn't keep up. And it's like, you are virtuosi, there's no question about it, but you seem to have missed a quite important aspect of what a session's about. And you were kind of like sat there, you know, open-mouthed in admiration, but at the same time thinking, what about that poor bastard over there who can't keep up? It's just... So eventually there were sessions that were just the students, and it was a bit of a shame, really. But some of them could play proper slow airs when they set their mind to it. But
I'll never forget one time I was at fiddle camp, and some of the pipers, because there was a bagpipe camp at the same time for a while. Some of the pipers came down the hill, and one of them said, "Well, can you play?" And so I played him something, you know, rattled off fast. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Can you play slow though?" And you know, I played him an air. I think it was Fairy's Love Song. And when he sat back and said, you know, I was like, "Oh, I did something." It was like a trophy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's, you know, I mean, with the fiddle as well, because so much is in your bowing, isn't it? About keeping that lovely, clear, steady, no need for vibrato because you're that accurate kind of note. When you're playing fast, the mistakes sort of go by really quickly and you don't notice them. Whereas when you're playing slow, you've got to be on it, haven't you? You've just...
Yeah. And sort of willing to let it go wrong.
Yeah. Hey, see, I just sing. It's much easier.
I don't know. Sometimes I think it's even more frustrating when what's coming like right out of your throat won't do the thing you want it to do.
Yeah, when you've got a cold or something like that and it's not, your voice isn't behaving, that's really crap. I had I've been doing the last couple of weeks where I've still not been right. And I can't remember what it was I sung. It was one that was quite high. And you become intensely conscious of the fact that your sinuses are not as clear as they should be because they're trying to vibrate. It's quite odd. It's amazing what you find out about the insides of your head when you're exploring singing. Really. Oh, I didn't know that bit vibrated, but clearly now it can't. I do know that now. So, are you? Have you got any gigs or online things coming up, or festivals or cons you're going to that people might like to know about?
I don't have a whole bunch coming up in the next month. I'm going to do a little bit more traveling. I've got some local gigs. You can usually find out about them on Facebook, which I know is sort of exclusionary, but right now it's an imperfect solution to a problem. I think what is kind of the next big thing? I should look at my calendar. I should have prepped for that question. Like, where can people hear you, McNally?
It's on the 18th. You've got a local gig.
Thank you, Zap. You're way better at this than I am. I should just hire you.
And of course, it being Bandcamp Friday today, if you look down in the description, there's a link to Amy's Bandcamp. And today is the best day to buy things from Bandcamp, because the only fees that get taken away from her are what fucking PayPal charge, as opposed to PayPal plus Bandcamp. So that's good.
Yeah.
I do as well, yes. Mine's very out of date. I really ought to put a single up or something. I keep meaning to record.
Mine's also
sorry?
Fairly out of date.
Yeah.
But there's an album. There is one.
Yeah. There's the recordings of an album. It needs to be mastered, and I need to work out what the sequence needs to be. And every time I think about it, my brain goes... It's really annoying. Too. It's just shit. I don't like it.
It's like every time I think about it, it gets a little heavier until I can't pick it up anymore.
Yeah. But I'm going to have to. I need someone to... Anyway. With any luck, ADHD drugs will come along and I'll go, hey!
Hopefully it'll still be... Yeah.
This is the single that I still haven't recorded. Dee 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 skibbity. I am a poor wayfaring stranger, journeying through this world of woe. But there's no sickness, toil, nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my father. I'm going there, no more to know. I am just going over Jordan. I'm only going over home. To where? No. I know dark clouds will gather over me. I know my way is rough and steep, and this fields lie just before me, where God's redeemed the villages keep. I'm going there to meet my mother. She said she'll meet me when I come. I am just going over Jordan. I'm only going over home. I want to wear that crown of glory when I come home in that right land. I want to shout salvation story in concert with the blood-washed land. I'm going there to meet my Savior, to sing His praise forevermore. am just going over the Jordan. I'm only going over the Jordan. I'm going there to meet my Savior, to sing His praise forevermore. I am just going over the Jordan. I'm only going over home. 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 I'm only going over home.
Oh my gosh, that's a banger.
Thanks.
Love it.
It's about as fancy as I get, really.
You know, if you're fancy as you want to get and you're comfortable,
Yeah.
that often means you'll knock it out of the park, you know?
I've
And
still
you did.
not. I don't think I've yet performed it and not done something where I thought, oh shit, I should have done that bit a bit different. And it never sounds the same anyway.
Some things are meant to be ephemeral.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I love that. That's part of what I love about it. You know, it's great to sing, and it's great to when I do it solo, I can often show people the screen that I'm working with, and you can kind of tell who are the people who want to work out how I'm doing the looping, because they go, "Oh, why did you delete it?" And from my point of view, it's like you go in empty, and you come out empty, and it lasts for as long as the performance, and that's what I love about it. It's what I love about looping as opposed to sort of multi-track recording and stuff like. Because when multi-track recording, you end up being far more careful about making sure your blend is absolutely right and tight and all that kind of stuff. Whereas when you're looping, it's kind of like, it's nice if it's right and tight and tight and tight and tight, but it's not the end of the world if you're a little bit loose. You just because it's there for the length of the song and then it's gone, you know?
Yeah, it's real. It's happening. It's constructed just for you just then.
Yeah. There's a guy on YouTube called, oh God, name's gone. And he does these amazing instructional videos on this, specifically this looping pedal called the Glue Glue Lupe, which is this loopy is, I've got millions of loops and I can have as many loops as I want and all that stuff, and I can have individual clips and blah, 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 blah. This has one loop, but it has this bewildering number of ways in which you manipulate the loop and play it backwards and change the speed and all kinds of stuff like that. And he does the most amazing sort of just him and a guitar and sort of strong percussive melodic work. And you just sat there going, huh? And it's one loop, and he's evolving it all the time, and it's always changing, and it's necessarily ephemeral because he's only got the one loop. So if he wants to evolve the loop, he's got to wipe stuff and replace stuff and all that kind of stuff. And the nearest I get is that drony loop, that drony quantized loop that I use for Wayfaring Stranger, because that gets layered and layered and layered. But it's just the most marvellous thing to watch him doing it. It's just, have you ever played with a looping pedal?
No. I to be honest, so much of my, and I know this sounds silly, so much of my brain is taken up when playing fiddle tunes into counting to 2 and 3. That I don't honestly know if I could manage some entirely like external thing that I had to.
Well, I mean,
I spent so much time counting to 2 and 3.
I would
and sometimes
suggest
4.
borrowing the simplest looper you can lay your hands off a mate and having a go. Because
I did download that Loopy Pro that you were talking about
yeah.
that one time.
Yeah.
But I didn't get far.
Well, because with the fiddle, you've got both hands are occupied, so you definitely want a foot pedal.
Yeah.
Because I know you can harmonise beautifully, and that's when you start to have that thing about you just put a bass down and then start mucking about the harmonies and stuff like that. And I reckon you'd love it once you've got your head wrapped around it.
And Betsy Tinney does use a pretty great pedal looper. She does some amazing stuff on stage when she's doing that. But
yeah, and you would, I'm sure, with it, because Loopy Pro, unless you then spend a bit of money and get the foot pedal and stuff like that, is crap for looping with a fiddle or a guitar. It's great for me with hands free.
your hands.
But if you're an instrument that takes 2 hands, you definitely want something on the floor to go, start and stop and learn the timing on that. And but it's a great. Lots of people use them as practice things, where they'll just play a phrase and then embroider on the phrase, and it's not about having a performance piece. It's about a locked-in tempo and groove that isn't a metronome, that is got a bit of your own groove to it, and then just riffing off that, and or just getting that phrase absolutely nailed down. So lots of different ways to use it. It's not. There are people who use it for performance, but there's far more people who've got loopers that are just practice aids.
That's cool. Goodness knows I could use some practice from time to time, too. I mostly just giggle up, but I don't practice very well, I got to admit.
Yeah, I have a friend who manages to do an hour of scales every day on his fiddle.
Right now, I think Kat Faber is doing a lot of scales on the violin, and I envy her patience and training.
Well, he explained it to me once, and it made sense. Because I thought, how do you do it without being bored? And he said, well, what is it? Yes, he's doing an hour of scales every day, but he's not practicing the same thing. So sometimes he's concentrating on bowing, sometimes it's on tone, sometimes it's on making sure the fingering's right. And the great thing about scales is that everything else can be mechanical.
Yeah.
So you can isolate that one thing you're working on. And I'm still not going to practice scales because with a do you? But it made an awful lot more sense of this thing about doing these rote things. It's not because the rote thing itself is exciting in any way. It's because it frees you to focus on one thing. Yeah. Because otherwise, the process of producing tone from a fiddle, there's a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah, and just like you said, when I'm teaching a student and they're working on a difficult passage, I go, well, okay, we're going to play it, but we're not going to worry about the tempo or rhythm at all. I just want you to play the notes in tune. Yeah. Okay, we're going to play it, but I'm not going to worry about the intonation at all. I just want you to play the notes in rhythm. Okay, we're going to play it, but we're not going to focus on notes or rhythm at all. We're going to focus on the feeling and the dynamics. Yeah. And then you try 2, and then...
Yeah. And the thing that I always found hardest about learning to play any instrument is not stopping when you make a mistake. I can do it when I'm singing. It's easy. You just keep going. You keep going. I've forgotten some words. La la la. Keep going. Don't stop the song. Keep moving. Keep the whatever it may be. And with a ballad, there's not as much of the pulse to worry about. But there's still people who say there's no pulse to a ballad don't understand singing anyway. But sorry, another argument.
I think you're right.
But in singing, it's easy. I can blur a word or something like that. But if I make a fuck up on the banjo or on a flute or something like that, I've trained myself to stop and go back, and I just don't know how to untrain that. It's because vital. It's just... Music is a series of increasingly sophisticated ways of counting to 8. And the really important thing is that 1 comes round at the same point every fucking time. And if you've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, oh shit, 2, 3, no! 1, 2, oh bollocks, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As long as you get back to the 1, job's a good one. And I can't bloody do it with instruments.
That is okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
Viola, thanks for coming.
But it makes it hard to perform with an instrument. Bye, Lola. Yeah, and absolutely, Gary. The people who notice have been there and won't say anything.
That's true.
And the people who don't notice...
Don't notice.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I walked out one May morning, betime, I met a maid from home it strayed, just as the sun did shine. What makes you rise, my dear, my dear? Your journey to pursue. Your pretty little feet, they strike so neat, strike off the morning dew. I'm going to feed my father's flock, his young and tender lambs, that over hills and over dales lie waiting for their dams. Oh stay, you handsome maid, and rest a moment here, for there is none but you alone that I do love so dear. How gloriously the sun do shine, how pleasant is the air. I'd rather rest on my true love's breast than any other where. For I am thine and thou art mine, no man shall uncomfort thee. We'll join our hands in wedded bands, and married we will be. There you go, 5/4. It's a pulse, it's a 2. Bum, 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 bum.
Awesome. I'm not great at rhythms that aren't inside like trad tunes.
Well, 5/4's a trad rhythm for airs.
Yeah. Man, once when I was young, we did Mahler's Symphony of 1,000. I think we only got to like 400, but I was in the children's choir, and Mahler likes to change rhythms a lot.
Yeah.
And I went to the library, and I interlibrary loaned a CD of the Symphony of 1,000, and they had listening stations at the time, and so I just plugged in and took out my sheet music and like tapped on my knee for hours trying to get that. Eventually I did, but
yeah.
British telephones are in 5/4.
Oh, that hadn't occurred to me, but you're dead right. Ding, 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 ding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 4, 1, 4. Anyway. Yeah, hadn't occurred to me. Peter Gabriel's Salisbury Hill is in 7/4. That's rather nice.
Nice. I'm in a jazz band, and I think a lot of jazz musicians are familiar with Take 5, but that's probably as close as I get.
Now, there's a few absolute. Have a go at Handweaver in the Factory Maid. That's a really nice tune, and that's in 5/4.
I'm going to write it down. What was it called again?
The Handweaver in the Factory Maid. And then you got some of those Chopin etudes where you've got lots of 3 against 4 and all that kind of stuff going on, and you kind of like got to work out how to make it sound like music rather than like a study.
Right. Ooh, played it with your big band. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Polyrhythms will be the death of me, right?
Apparently, this is what my wife did, how pretentious she could be. The first single my wife ever bought was Take 5, but she bought it for the B-side, Blue Rondo a la Turk.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, I'd like to do a couple covers.
Cool.
And we've done a lot of like journeys and death.
It's folk songs. How do you
Folk
avoid
songs. What are you
going to
do? But let me see if I can pull up a little bit of a love song written by a lady of whom I'm very fond. And it's called Down Home Aphrodite. She was a down home Aphrodite, and her eyes were like the sea. And the minute that I saw her, Lord, she had the best of me. And I said, darling, won't you let me take you home? Because the night is dark and faith is thin. And though I don't know where you've been, this world ain't no place for a woman alone. I said, let me be your Vulcan. She said, honey, what's your angle? I said, ain't got no angle at all. I'm just looking for a woman who knows how to roll the dice and who doesn't give one good goddamn about where the cards may fall. She was a down-home Aphrodite with the starlight in her hair. And the minute that I saw her, Lord, I knew it wasn't fair. And I said, darling, can I worship at your shrine? Because I need your style. I need your grace. I need to touch a holy place. I need to see a chance for me to make you mine. Call her Venus on the mountain, Amphitrite by the sea. She's Hera in the wedding bed, Diana on her knees, Persephone in darkness, Demeter in the light. She's my down-home Aphrodite, and she'll make it all right. She was a down-home Aphrodite, and the world was in her smile. And the minute that I saw her, Lord, I knew I'd stay a while. And I said, darling, will you be my shining star? Because I'll die for you, just set the task. I'll do whatever deeds you ask. Just tell me I'm allowed to stay right where you are. I said, let me be your Vulcan. She said, honey, what's your angle? I said, I ain't got no angle at all. I'm just looking for an angel who can fly the friendly skies and who doesn't give one good goddamn about how far we may fall. Call her Venus on the mountain, Athena in the woods. She's Circe when you're bad, but she'll be Iris if you're good. Cassandra for your future and Cleo for your past. She's my down-home Aphrodite, and she'll take me home at last. She's my down-home Aphrodite. Come on, take me. Come on, take me home at last. Shauna McGuire.
She's quite good, that Shauna, isn't she?
Oh.
Quite. She's kind of got the hang of this songwriting lock.
Yeah, she's not bad at the words thing.
Yeah.
Or the music thing, really.
I was going to say,
although
really
she doesn't think of herself
as tunes as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, thanks, y'all.
Puts me in mind of this. It's on something of a tangent. In the heat of the day when the sun shines so clearly, I met Master Kilby, so fine and so gay. I pulled off my hat and bowed to the ground. said Master Kilby, oh, where are you bound? I'm bound for the west, and in the hopes to find rest in the arms of my dear Nancy, I will build a new nest. She's the fairest of girls, she's the choice of my heart, and her skin shines like silver in every part. And if I were the master, a 10,000 pound in bright gold and silver, or in King William's crowns, I'd part with it all and with my own heart so freely, and it's all for the sake of my charming Nancy. I gave her some kisses, 'twas down by the seashore, and still she lay asking for more. Master Kilby.
Whoa.
Isn't that sweet? Just, proper.
Wow.
You don't find many folk songs that are properly about love.
Yeah.
In the way that one is. It's a genuine love song, and that's quite rare in sort of folk and ballads. I I love it. 2024 Filk Hall of Fame inductee Sean and Maguire, says Gary.
Heck yeah. Thanks, Gary. And have a great evening, Mr. Mashy Man.
God above, it's 20 to 10. Doesn't time
I
fly?
know. I just want to keep doing this forever. Thank you so much for having me on.
You have to come back at shorter intervals.
That'd probably be better.
Sean said yes at some point, but she needs to organise time and an instrumentalist to help out, really. So, but we will have her on, and we can argue about Tamlin.
Yes, I will eat popcorn. I will eat popcorn, and I will listen to you all sing all your versions, and it'll be great.
Oh, yeah, God, there's a lovely version by Moira Craig that's fabulously short. Gets everything you need, but it's really short. It's really sweet. I really ought to learn it, because the one I do is a full 12 minutes or so. And,
right. Yeah. I am kind of considering singing a 6-minute long angry feminist song.
Don't let me stop you.
All right. I was thinking about Lady Mondegreen and how I used to find time to do it. Love you. Thank you. How I used to get to hang out and sing with them at conventions. Mm-hmm. And this is an Uncle Bonsai song that we used to cover.
Cool.
And so it's really worth listening to the original. It's got this cool layered vocal thing that I can't do solo, but you say you love me for now, for certain. You say whatever you think I want to hear. You say that it's now or never, if not forever, at least we're here. You say it's nothing like true romances. It's true. Romance is not all it's said to be. You say that we take our chances. Maybe the chances will fade away. It's all one-liners. It's how much better can you do? It's wine and diners. It's one for all and all for you. You say you love me that much is easy. You say you'll please me. That's all you want to do. You say that you'll take it easy. It's not the worst thing that we could do. You pull no punches. You need the damsel in distress who'll play your hunches, who'll be a virgin more or less. You'll spring for candy. You'll have some secrets to confess. You'll pour the brandy and pull the body from my dress. You lead me to your bedroom. I can see through your bedroom. What do you do with bedroom eyes? You open wide your bedroom. I see inside your bedroom. Don't try to hide those bedroom eyes. You say you'll leave me someday with sorrow. You say tomorrow the world might be destroyed. You say that you'll beg or borrow so that tomorrow might be enjoyed. You choose the places, so luck is always on your side. You tie your laces to get a look at what I hide. You make suggestions, you toast the color of my eyes. You show discretion when you've exhausted your supplies. Why do you show your bedroom? I think I know your bedroom. I'll never go with bedroom eyes. I heard about your bedroom. I'd never doubt your bedroom. I'll live without your bedroom eyes. You wink. I wonder, what is he trying to sell? You think I'm under some kind of curious spell. You shave, you shower, it's such a packaging ploy. You crave the power that comes from being a boy. What do you say to bedroom? Just put away your bedroom. I'll never stay with bedroom eyes. The end begins with bedroom. You'll never win with bedroom. I won't look in your bedroom eyes. Bedroom eyes.
Oof. Wow.
Kind of a tough one, but
yeah.
Boy, when you were a sort of assigned female at birth and socialized that way, and that song comes your way, it's a punch in the gut.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is. Yeah.
And I'm sure it is to folks of all sorts of genders. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's those guys. And the weird thing is, as a guy, you have to teach yourself to spot those arseholes. Because if you're not one, you don't understand why anyone thinks like that. Yeah. Yeah, so songs like that are a punch in the gut for men of goodwill as well, in some sense. Because it's just like, you know, I mean, the older I get, the more I realise that how many of the women I know who trust me enough to talk about shit like that have got controlling partners and assaults and all sorts of awful stuff in their past. Yeah. And it's never not shocking. It's no longer surprising, which I find very depressing.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, I'm now performing sensitive new age guy. So maybe I'm an arsehole too. I hope I'm not.
Nothing would lead me to believe that, but I appreciate anybody who's willing to be, you know, like, oh, that's a Mary Berkey, that's an Uncle Bonsai song, from Men and Women, spelled with a Y. But you know, I think it's often a saving grace, folks who are willing to go, wait, am I like that? Yeah. You know,
oh yeah.
It's one of those, if you think you're crazy, maybe you're not crazy, kind of.
You know, I've gone through my time thinking I was a nice guy. you know, and then you spend more time with women who are friends and not targets or bodies or whatever the fuck the mentality of these people is. And it's like, thank you to all the women who've thought I was worth their time. Because, by God, I look at sort of 21-year-old me and wonder how anyone gave me the time of day. I'm very glad they did.
Well, I was not all joy and delight at 21 myself.
Yeah.
But thank goodness for the people who take us in and talk to us like we're people and teach us that other people are like that too.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's one of the great things about, for all there are horrible stories of Finnish communities, and I really enjoyed Marion Zimmer Bradley.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm kind of glad I got to read those books before I realised who and what she was. It's a bit like the Harry Potter stuff. Even more glad to have read Pratchett from the very beginning and learned who he was and that he wasn't the arsehole. He wasn't an arsehole. In fact, he became more and more of a mensch as time went on. So, you know, there are people who are marvellous and but the nature of fandom as well is that we kind of like try to be inclusive, I think, and hopefully respond when people say, actually, do you realise you're not being inclusive? You haven't been inclusive. And it's been I'm not really heavily involved in fandom. I hang out in a few Finnish spaces, but watching cons take things like codes of conduct seriously and actually enforcing those codes of conduct and hopefully listening to people in marginalised communities, whatever those communities are. I am also sure that there are people in marginalised communities who have horror stories to tell us about Finnish spaces and other spaces. And all I can hope is that those people find responsive listeners when the time comes for them to tell their stories. It's just, I love, you know, the rhetoric of fandom is that it's inclusive and friendly and welcoming. And I, as a white guy, have always found it thus. So it's very hard to then go, oh shit, hang on a minute.
Right.
There's a lot of people around here who look like me. Down those roads lead rants that are non-productive and just... But we just have to listen. I guess that's the thing. People like me with all the privileges just have to listen and try and use our privilege to help.
Being willing to listen and being willing to try are so much.
Yeah.
There's so much, you know.
Yeah.
And I've seen some things change. You know, maybe not as fast as they should, maybe not as fairly as they should, but I've seen some things change. You know, there's a time I might have been at a big crowded convention and have something happen to me or come over me and wind up crying, and people might be like, "Oh, okay, keep away from drama in the corner there."
Yeah.
And I was at some giant convention. It might have been San Diego Comic-Con, and I hadn't gotten food and I couldn't check into my hotel room and I was having a panic attack.
Yeah.
And somebody just came up to me and said, "Hey, it looks like you're having a hard time. Is there anything I can get you?"
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I said, I've just scarfed down like a meal bar. I've got this bottle of water. Yeah. I've got panic meds. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah. You know, it
matters.
Sometimes the little things can just bolster your sense of faith in the universe.
I used to, back in live journal days, I used to really enjoy fandom wank. But these days, I'm really fucking glad it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just, yeah, that whole drama thing. It's just, drama is someone having a horrible time. And sometimes they're horrible people. Most of the time, they're not.
I don't want to see tough things happen to people.
No,
Not
even people I
generally.
don't like.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to look at the clock and ask how many songs we have left, but
It's
how many
coming to
songs
10
do you think
o'clock
we have left?
and I'm running down. So what I'm going to do, page between 1 and 261. Amy, pick a number.
137.
137, right, okay. So, and I've got at least one more song after this that I need to sing, because otherwise people will be very disappointed and unable to shout cock.
I love you for that.
Oh, good grief.
Oh, good grief. Oh, this will be interesting. Yes. All right.
Because this is made to be sung unaccompanied. It's half the fun. I'm sorry, Marion. Amy gets the choice this time. I am just a boxer, though my story's seldom told. I have squandered my resistance for a pocket full of mumbles, such are promises. All lies in jest, still a man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest. When I left my home and family, I was no more than a boy in the company of strangers, in the quiet of a railway station, running scared, laying low, seeking out the poorer quarters where the ragged people go, looking for the places only they would know. La la la, la 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 la. Asking only workman's wages, I come looking for a job. No offers, just to come on from the whores on 7th Avenue. I do declare there were times when I was so lonesome. Up comfort there, la 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 la. Then I'm laying out my winter clothes and wishing I was gone, going home, where the New York City winters are and bleeding me, leading me, going home. In the clearing stands a boxer and a fighter by his trade, and he carries the reminders of every glove that laid him down or cut him till he cried out in his anger and his shame, I am leaving, but the fighter still remains. La 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 Copyright strike there.
All right. So if you've got two more, does that mean I've got one?
One or two, if you've got a farewell song that you want to sing, or just your choice.
There's one more I'd like to sing, and I'd like to end strong with a fiddle piece. So I might go for two if you think we can stretch it out.
Do one, I'll do another one. You do the fiddle tune, and then I might not bother with a goodnight song, but there's definitely one I've got to sing.
Yes. We all have to find our rooster reacts.
Absolutely.
All right, because there's somebody in the chat who wrote a song that I really like. Actually, she wrote several songs that I really like. But we've been talking about men and women. We've been talking about journeys. We've been talking about stories. So here's how it was. After he left me, queen of the island and the mother of his child, I knew the risks. War's always chancy, but still I was happy to wait for a while. But 10 years is an awfully long time, and there's no guarantee he'll be back. And the war was so far away, too many ships' sails had turned black. Here's how it was. Our son was grown now. Yes, I took lovers, and why should I not? I knew their names. Circe, Calypso. Did they know my name, the wife that he forgot? 'Cause 10 years is an awfully long time, and there's no guarantee he'll be home. And the war was so far away, and I was still queen and alone. 10 years, 10 years, 10 years too long. 10 years, 10 years, 10 years too long. Here's how it was. There was this poet, eloquent, charming, and here in my home. He wrote the books, yeah, he wrote the stories. He wrote me waiting all that time alone, as if 10 years were a reasonable time, as if love waits without hope. And when men go fighting their wars, their wives are expected to cope. Oh, here's how it was. After he left me, I tired of waiting and of sleeping alone. I'm queen still. I rule unwisely. 20 years later, and he still isn't home, and he still isn't home. And if 10 years is an awfully long time, well, then 10 more is 10 years too long. And the daughters and the lovers and the mothers and the wives will decide what's remembered. Decide what's remembered in song. 10 years, 10 years, 10 years too long. 10 years, 10 years, 10 years too long. 'Cause what am I, blind? What am I, stone? Still queen, still alone. And everyone heard, and everyone knew all about her, all about you. 'Cause 10 years, what am I, blind? 10 years, what am I, stone? Still queen, still alone. 'Cause everyone heard, and everyone knew all about her, all about you. Thanks, Talis. I love that one.
Wow.
When somebody just takes the great literature that you've been raised on and then goes, oh, but what about this viewpoint?
Yes.
Oh, it's so tasty.
So a friend of mine wrote a fabulous reappraisal of William Taylor, the ballad, where the ballad of William Taylor, Willie Taylor goes off and his girlfriend dresses as a man and runs away to sea to follow him, and finally finds out where he is, and where he is getting married to his, quote, sweetheart. So she goes to the church and shoots him dead.
Okay.
And a friend of mine wrote a version of a variant of the song from the viewpoint of the mother of the bride. And it's about this mysterious murder that just happens out of nowhere. And you don't, when you're listening to it, you don't know that it's that until the last verse. Actually, no, it's from the point of view of the bride. From the last verse, when it's William Taylor was my true love's name, and suddenly the whole narrative, if you know the ballad, the narrative just explodes in your head, and it's like a punchline. It's brilliant. Just
yum.
yeah, it's a fantastic piece of work. But it's definitely one of those ones that only works for a certain audience. Because if you have to explain the story of William Taylor beforehand, you've ruined the surprise of the song. But it's just, oh God, Vicky Appleton Fielden, fabulous songwriter based in Sheffield. And yeah, it's an absolute banger. Fair Annie is no, don't think so. It's just I thought it would be absolutely up Talis' street. Anyway, I've got to sing this one, which is completely tangential to awesome. Anything, but I don't care. Oh, be the lady who will be the Lord when we are ruled by the love of one another. Oh, be the lady who will be the Lord in the light that is coming in the morning. Sing John Ball and tell it to them all. Long live the day that is dawning. For I'll crow like a cock, I'll carol like a lark. In the light that is coming in the morning. Eve is the lady, Adam is the Lord. Oh, when we are ruled by the love of one another. Eve is the lady, Adam is the Lord. In the light that is coming in the morning. Sing John Ball and tell it to them all. Long live the day that is dawning. For I'll crow like a cock, I'll carol like a lark. In the light that is coming in the morning. Labour and spin for fellowship, I say. Labour and spin for the love of one another. Labour and spin for fellowship, I say. In the light that is coming in the morning. Sing John Ball and tell it to them all. Long live the day that is dawning. For I'll crow like a cock, I'll carol like a lark. In the light coming in the morning. All shall be ruled by fellowship, I say. All shall be ruled by the love of one another. All shall be ruled by fellowship, I say. In the light that is coming in the morning. Sing John Ball and tell it to them all. Long live the day that is dawning. For I'll crow like a cock, I'll carol like a lark. In the light that is coming in the morning. Sing John Ball and tell it to them all. Long live the day that is dawning. For I'll crow like a cock, I'll carol like a lark. In the light that is coming in the morning. In the light that is coming in the morning. Cock! Or possibly McIntyre.
McIntyre!
When next time you hear someone singing when they all done Camp
Blind
Fire,
paralytic drunk.
when you get to McIntyre, just shout cock. or free toast. Or
free toast.
From Rolling Home. So pass the bottle round and let the toast flow free. Free toast! Here's a health to every labourer, wherever he may be. That one.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
First time I came across that, I was singing it outside a pub and I was singing a thing and people were joining in and someone walking past, literally walking past, not stopping to listen, realised what I was singing and shouted cock at the appropriate moment in the chorus and kept on walking. I was just like, what the fuck just happened?
That's the best.
It was all right, she was a mate, but it was definitely something of a surprise.
That's fantastic. Okay, all right. I guess I got to do the last one.
Yeah.
When I was at the UK FilkCon, when I last got to see you, I went up on stage and I did this as my my kind of one shot. I was so happy with how it turned out, and Chris Conway got a little video of it, and it sounded nice. So a lot of y'all have heard this because it's my current showpiece set. It's two covers. It's Graj Schottisch by Vason and Catharsis by Amy McNally.
Woohoo!
Oh, thanks, y'all.
That's fabulous. Yeah, there's no way I'm following that. No way.
Oh,
That was glorious. Rick Hewitt in chat said something I think that's very much right. Yes. Thank you so much for tonight's music and conversation, and thank you both so much. Amy, special thanks for all you have said. Absolutely, Amy. Thank you for having the courage to talk about autism, that the idea that, giving people hope that it is suicidal ideation is a thing that can be, for some people.
Sometimes there's help.
Glorious.
Sometimes there's help.
Yeah.
Please try.
Thank you, everyone. It has been a delight.
I've had an awesome time. Thank you all so much for listening and chiming in. And Pierce, thank you for having me. Your voice is a treasure. I love every time I get to hear it.
Oh, thank you.
I feel so honored to make music with you. I can't wait until the next time we're in person. Y'all are amazing.
Yeah. Next time you're over this side of the pond, that would be brilliant. Sadly, it'll be a while before I'm left pondwards, I'm afraid, but got no money. And I've got a wife to care for, which sounds like I'm complaining. That's absolutely not what the case is. But anyway, I'd like to thank in particular Lexi and Rick, Nitronomicon, Thomas Brown, Simon Fairburn, Talis Kimberley, an anonymous Ko-fi supporter, and Alan Thiessen, who've all chucked money in the hat. You're all so very kind.
Thanks, y'all.
ko-fi.com/ I can never remember if it's Piers Corley or PD Corley. I think it's Piers Corley, isn't it? Is the place to go if you're feeling like you want to chuck some money in the hat. Look at chat; it'll tell you. Look at the description down. It has been a joy talking to Amy and singing and performing for you all. It always is. The great thing about having a guest on is I can go longer because I'm not having to keep singing. So it's always
a wonderful
nice.
Time.
It's been an absolute delight to catch up with you, Amy, and thank you so much for having the courage to talk about the stuff you talked about. And in future I don't have any guests lined up, but I need to fix that. I've got to chase Kat Faber because she's great, and I keep asking.
She's written some astounding songs.
To organising it. She has the most amazing voice, and obviously we need to get Talis back on, and Chantel, and all sorts of people. So I will get my finger out and book more guests. But next week it will be me and my looper again, probably going for about an hour and a half. The week after that will probably be more of the same. At some point, I hope I'm going to do a slightly more polished concerty thing with Emily Eastwood, because we need to shoot some video for the purposes of convincing folk clubs and folk festivals they want to book us.
Yeah.
So hopefully we might manage to make that part of a Friday night session, or if not, I'll do a world premiere of it, and I can skive off. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on, Amy, and let's leave it less than a year next time.
Yeah, next time we'll do some of the more lighthearted and filthy stuff.
Yeah, we'll do more filth, absolutely. More smart, more funny, and I think that's it. You've got a gig on the 18th of May.
I do.
Where is that?
I think that is at O'Reilly and Conway's Irish Pub in Janesville, Wisconsin, with my Irish band. Smut! Sorry.
I'm guessing it's not going to be a thing that's streamed to the Tinternet.
No. And if it were, the sound there might be kind of like echoey and muddy and not the best for streaming, but it's a fun pub. They got good food. If you're in the area, it's always worth stopping by O'Reilly and Conway's.
Yeah. Yeah. Jump up on stage. Sing pub songs.
Yeah.
Really piss off the act. Don't do that. Unless they know you and invite you up. Just fucking don't.
None of us want to see the drunk person reaching for the microphone.
No. Just don't. Don't. Oh, God. A friend of mine got married and they booked a jazz band. And they were a really good jazz band. And my friend's a really good singer. And so I went up to the leader of the band and said, look, the bride sings a bit. Is it all right if she joins you? He said, oh, what? And we're like, well, it's kind of like jazz standards. The one that we definitely know is Summertime, and I know it's a cliche. So you could see him going, what key? He said. I said, I don't know. It'll be C or G, one of those. She'll be there or thereabouts. So she went up and had a chat with the band. They sorted out the key, and we introduced her, and she went on. And I've never heard her sing better. It was magic. And it was just the thing that was most remarkable. She started to sing, and the band's kind of like going through the motions, you know. And she's really just the sheer joy of that song and the situation just came through in every ounce of her performance. And by about halfway through the first phrase, the band's going, fuck, we've got a singer. Yeah! And suddenly their playing just goes, whoop. It's a magical thing to see. Anyway, I'm really going now. We're going to fade to black. Real. I just had this anecdote that I couldn't resist telling. Thank you, everyone. See you in a week. Thank you, Amy. See you in...
Hopefully sooner.
Probably longer than a week, but less than a year.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to press the fade to black button like that.